This is a real, true-to-life story about an average American named John who won the lottery and became yet another millionaire in America.
I never thought my life would turn out this way. I was just a regular guy, living in a quiet suburb with my wife Sarah and our 3 kids, Tom, Laura, and little Ben. We weren't rich, but we had enough to get by. Sarah worked as a cashier at the local supermarket, and I spent my days under the hood of cars as a mechanic. But every week, without fail, I bought a lottery ticket. It was my one escape, my one dream. Sarah would roll her eyes, telling me to save that money for something practical, like the kids' college fund. But I always told her, one day, Sarah, one day we won't have to worry about bills anymore. And then, that day came. I still remember the night I checked the numbers. My hands were shaking as I compared them over and over again. $50 million, $50 million. My heart pounded so hard I thought I might pass out. I called Sarah and the kids over, and when I told them, the house exploded with excitement. We were millionaires. The next day, I collected my winnings. We quit our jobs, no more greasy hands, no more late-night shifts. We bought a huge mansion in an upscale neighborhood, a fleet of luxury cars, designer clothes, the works. The kids got everything they ever wanted. We dined in the best restaurants and vacationed in the Bahamas. At first, everything was perfect. But soon, things started to change. I started hanging out with new friends, people who lived fast and spent faster. They made me feel like I belonged, like I was finally someone important. The parties started small, just a few drinks and laughs, but they grew bigger, wilder. Expensive champagne, endless nights of excess, and eventually, drugs. Sarah tried to talk sense into me. She begged me to slow down, to think about our future. But what did she know? You don't understand this life, Sarah. We're rich now. We don't have to worry about the future. But I should have listened. One night, I threw the biggest party yet. The house was packed, the drinks flowed, and people I barely knew were everywhere. I had lost control, but I didn't care. Somewhere in the chaos, I met some guys, real shady types, drug dealers, but I felt untouchable. What could go wrong? The answer came the next morning. I woke up on my bedroom floor, head pounding, clothes stained with blood. I turned my head and saw her, a woman, a stranger, a prostitute, lying lifeless beside me. My stomach twisted. What the hell had happened? Then the knock on the door. The dealers. They came in calmly, almost like they had rehearsed this moment. "Tough night, huh?" One of them smirked. "See, Johnny boy, you've got a problem. The cops will be here any minute, and guess what? Everything points to you." I could barely breathe. "But hey, we're not heartless," another one added. "You can walk away from this. Just hand over everything, your house, your money, whatever you've got left, and we'll make this whole thing disappear." My mind raced. What choice did I have? Prison? A life sentence? I signed over everything. My cars, my house, my bank accounts, everything I had built, everything I had dreamed of. It was all gone in an instant. And then I ran. For a while, I stayed in cheap motels, using the little cash I had left. But eventually, that ran out too. I went back to Sarah, hoping, begging for another chance. But when she opened the door, all I saw in her eyes was pain. "You're not the man I married, John." She was right. The kids wouldn't even look at me. I had destroyed everything. With nowhere else to go, I ended up on the streets. The same guy who once lived in a mansion now begged for spare change. At first, I thought I'd get back on my feet. But how? No one hires a washed-up addict with nothing to his name. So I drank. I needed something to numb the pain, the regret. Then came the harder stuff. Days turned into months, seasons changed, and I became just another forgotten soul, lost in the alleys of the city. One day, as I sat on a cold sidewalk, holding out my hand for whatever someone might spare, I looked up and saw a familiar face, Tom, my son. He had grown so much. He looked strong, confident, nothing like me. Our eyes met, and for a brief moment, I saw something. Maybe pity, maybe sadness. But then, just as quickly, it was gone. He walked away, and I sat there, watching my son disappear into the distance. Once, I had it all. A family, a home, a future. But in the end, I lost everything. Everything. Even more.
What do you think? If you were in John's place, what would you have done? Would you have handled it differently? Let us know in the comments. Because maybe, just maybe, there's a lesson to be learned.